This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Don't mistake the new me for the old me. They can't stop me now, I'm with the home team. No beginner, I'm a winner. Took a couple losses, now I'm cooking, let me simmer. Yeah, tunnel vision, all I see is win, 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 win. This my city section where you been. We move faster alone, but go further together. We can weather any weather forever. A dream team, I done seen things. Confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team out here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Forget the things you probably thought you knew. A new day is approaching, turn the gray skies into blue. I grew up on these same blocks, school of hard knocks. Had to get it on a hard time, took the hard shots, but we made it. Anticipated, highly decorated. The home team is winning, celebrated. The victory is all mine, and everything is alright. And you know how to see things, confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team out here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like,
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Spike Kool-Aid for Tuesday, November 11, 2025. Am I buffering? Can you guys see me pretty good? Hopefully I am not buffering. Man, Travis Hunter, wow, he underwent surgery today to repair his LCL. That is crazy. Crazy. What up, Lupe? What's going on, man? Says, hey, Derek, crazy question is, what if we hire Hank Fraley as OC next season? He did get an interview at the beginning of the season. Am I buffering? Because on my end, I am buffering pretty tough. Let me see. All right, am I buffering, guys? What up, Win? What's good with you? Am I spinning or can you see me? Is it clean? Because YouTube been acting funny, man. I'm not buffering? All right, what up? Lupe, that's a good question, man. But the better question is, do you want to lose him as offensive line coordinator? Okay, I'm clean on your end. Okay, good. It could just be my internet. All right, so you guys know that I am going to be trying to do this show on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But you know what? I'm going to try to do it every day. If the only problem is we don't have a time, and I would love to be consistent with the time. I am working on that. It might not fit into the schedule right now because my schedule is all over the place, but I'm going to try to get on every day. What's up? Boot says, is it safe to say we have no idea what Brad will do this draft? Have we already gone to the draft? That is crazy, man. That is insane. All right, let's talk about a few things in today's show. Let's talk about the Rams. I think the Rams, man, like the Lions and Rams are shaping up to be a showdown. We're going to talk about Ahmed, of course, and Jalen Phillips. The Detroit Lions should have tried to get Jalen Phillips. He had an outstanding debut yesterday, and the Detroit Lions didn't have a third. And that's what the Philadelphia Eagles wind up giving up for him. You know, I wonder if we would have had a third, could we have got him? And also, let's talk more about Johnny Morton. And is he going to how the Detroit Lions may have to move on? They may have to move on at the end of the year. I just don't think that you can give play calling back to Johnny Morton after this. But, hey, Boots, have you already gone to the draft, bro? That's insane. It ain't no way, bro. We 6-3. Oh, let's also talk about the standings as well. So, if you guys don't know, you're like, what is the purpose of this channel? All right, so the purpose of Syndicate Sports Detroit is it serves multiple purposes. One is to give me an outlet to be able to go live with you guys. Live streaming can mess up the algorithm. It can mess up your audience. You have to be very careful when live streaming, even if you do it about the same subject, because you'll start to develop an audience for live streaming, and you won't get an audience for regular videos or vice versa. And in some cases, that's why people will have a short that blows up. Let's say I do a short about Deron Payne and him freaking out. I do a short. This short gets 1 million views. I gain, 5,000 subscribers. All of them came from that short. And then when I do my regular content, then it's not the same audience. So what this does is this gives me an outlet to be able to talk to you guys on a daily basis while not ruining the algorithm to Lion Syndicate. In addition to that, the goal was to have more people talk about Detroit and Michigan sports. The issue is most people want to talk about the Lions. Hopefully I can find some Pistons people. It's either you don't make content, or whatever. Like, it's very difficult to find people, but that's the point of this channel. Right now, it's myself, Motor City Cats, and we still have Nick. I don't know. I talked to Nick. He was supposed to be resuming the show, but on Tuesdays, but I don't know what he's going to do, what's happening with him. I need to check up on him. So this off season, I'm going to try to grow and get more creators to join the team. We got Boots in the building. Appreciate you, my man, with the super chat says, just keep doing what you do. Oh, absolutely, man. I appreciate that. So this channel is up to 5,000 subscribers, man. We initially grew off of a viral video. You guys remember when Aiden Hutchinson picked off Justin Fields? It was a one-man rush, and they had one guy on the D-line rushing the passer. That was the video that kind of blew the channel up, and then we went from there. Last year, we had a steady growth, and we gonna come back, man, because this is what I always wanted to do. My stream is lagging. You know, hold on. All right, so for some people, it's lagging. For me, it was lagging. If the stream is lagging for you, I don't know what's going on with that. It was lagging for me as well. I didn't even know you had this channel till last week, I think. Yeah, a lot of that was kind of the point. I very rarely share the channels, but the point of this channel was to, and I'll bring this up, and I wanted to make sure I let you guys know this because some people were asking. So I found out yesterday that allegedly, according to Spencer from Woodward Sports, the heavyweights, they wind up getting banned. They had a copyright. They had a strike. It seems like it was a guideline strike. And when you get a guideline strike, you are off. You cannot do anything for 7 days. You cannot post a video. You may be able to reply to comments. You cannot post a community post. You cannot make a video. You basically get banned. So what that means is they already had their warning, because YouTube will give you a warning. Your very first offense, they'll give you a warning. And then after that, you get a strike. And if you get a strike, one strike in 90 days, you get a 7-day ban. And if you get a second strike in that same 90-day period, you get a 14-day ban. If you get a third strike in that 90-day period, you get terminated. So your channel can get terminated. So that was a very goofy thing. What up, Bud? Try it. What's up? What's up? John Morton is not a player's coach. That's why he's always been more of an advisor, not dealing directly with the players. All right, let's start there. All right, so yesterday we talked about John Morton, and I want to get you guys' comments, so make sure you, on playback, you put it in the comment section. I think that right now, John Morton has lost the locker room. I think he lost the locker room. Dan Campbell, we found out yesterday. Now, when we got on yesterday, we did not know this. Dan Campbell told John Morton on Monday that he was going to be calling the plays against the Washington Commanders. He told him that. On Thursday, whenever the coordinators get in front of the media, John Morton threw his players under the bus. He threw his players under the bus. I was pro John Morton. No, I'm not. I'm not. If we move on from him, or Dan Campbell decides to take over play calling for good, I'm okay with that. He can be an advisor. He can be a consultant. He can be whatever he needs to be. But once you lose the locker room, once you start blaming players like that, then I think at that point it's gone. You heard the kind of the rumblings from the players. Then John gets in front of the media, throws said players under the bus, and then Dan Campbell winds up calling the plays. I think this is a sign that the Detroit Lions need to move on from Johnny Morton. They probably will not fire him this year. They probably will demote him. We just found out that the Washington Commanders have demoted their defensive coordinator. So he is now like the Anthony Lynn from a few years ago. But John Morton, man, you cannot lose the locker room. You can't do that. Let me see. So I think that that's what we need to do. We need to move on from John Morton. And again, I was pro this guy because our offense was pretty good. We came out we looked flat against the Green Bay Packers. And I put that on a few things. I put that on not only us not playing during the preseason, but the fact that John Morton, this is new to him with our team, right? So I gave him some slack there. We come out, we whoop on the Bears, we whoop on the, we don't whoop, but we put up a bunch of points on the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals. We're doing well. We win 4 in a row. Nobody was really complaining. Then when we start, but the thing that kind of went in with those teams is they were bad. They were bad teams. Then we play a bad team with the Minnesota Vikings, and we can't score. Nobody's getting the ball. We can't score. And then Brad. So what that tells me, that Dan took over play calling. It tells me that this, to me, like if you read between the lines, this has been brewing for a while. Dan didn't just make this decision. He just didn't up and say, hey, I'm going to take over play calling. It was something that was brewing. I think he even saw this, even against the games we were winning against those bad teams, that, hey, I might have to step in here. But then again, Dan Campbell, if you look at the contrast between Morton and Campbell, Campbell's like, it was a collaborative effort. He said in his press conference yesterday, it was not only Johnny Morton helping him, it was Shaw, it was everyone. It was a collaborative effort. It wasn't just one man. It wasn't just a handful. It was a bunch. That's what he said. But he also said he wanted to change things a little bit. It was time for a change. I think this is a soft reboot, if you will. I think this is Dan Campbell's way of saying, you know what? It's not going to work. I think we need to move on. And I think because of that, and because of what I saw on Monday Night Football in Week 10, that Dan Campbell is going to call plays against the Philadelphia Eagles. They are a very beatable team. They really didn't look that great yesterday. Watching them, you have Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith. It's like you'll have Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown go. I think A.J. Brown had 2 catches. Smith was the one eating them up. And Saquon was coming through in the clutch. So I'm like, I'm watching this team. And I'm like, okay, their secondary is suspect. Yesterday, I took Jamison Williams out of my fantasy lineup because he wasn't getting the ball. And yesterday, he would have helped win me my fantasy game. Had 23 points, man. For the first time he's had any points in forever. So I think that this is a sign that the Detroit Lions are going to move on from Johnny Morton. Let me see. We got a comment says, yes, I was also pro Morton, but you're right. To call out your players, it wasn't the worst thing he could do. Even when we were putting up points, it just didn't feel right. You know what? I think that's because of Johnny himself. I think that's it. HCDC is better hand-on play calling than Ben and John. You know what? What else too? Is a lot of y'all didn't vibe with John being in the booth. You know what I'm saying? You got Coach on the sideline. You got Ben Johnson on the sideline. And a lot of you guys did not vibe with that type of dynamic. And I don't know if we've had a guy in the booth like that before. It's almost like, so he was already kind of standoffish in the first place. His claim was he didn't want to be distracted. That's what he said. So I don't know, man, but give me your thoughts on what do you think is the future of John Morton? Do you think that Dan is going to give play calling back totally to John? Or do you think he's going to be hands-on like he was? Or do you think he's just going to take it all together and we not hear anything about it? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. All right. Did I see the video? Yes, we're going to talk about that. That's actually on my list of things to talk about. So we're going to talk about that. I actually saw it just before I got on. What's up, Schiff? Says, but before that, Robbie says, I have a bad feeling he's going to end up getting suspended we might not, if we don't talk about it, will it go under the radar? Okay. All right. Since y'all are on that, let's talk about it. Let me bring up Twitter. So if you're just now joining us, a video came out. First of all, man, I gotta keep it a buck, man. I wanted to say this for the segment, but I gotta keep it a buck. The Washington Commanders. I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed in the Washington Commanders because I can't believe how much they're crying. I cannot believe the level of whininess that is coming from these grown men. So, I'm gonna save most of it for the segment, though. I think his play calling was very inconsistent, so that's part of the problem. You know what, Win? You could be right, because we didn't even get, J-Mo wasn't even getting the ball. Like, during that stretch, he wasn't even getting the football. So, I see that. And the Packers are who we thought they were, frauds. We are better than them. The thing about the Packers, though, is their defense is legit. Like, that's the thing that's been keeping them in games and winning them games. It really hasn't been the offense. But they lost. They did lose a guy. He has a fractured leg, man. I'm like, man, you know what? Offensive linemen, they really don't get enough credit. They really don't, man, because a lot of their injuries, you can't even see it coming. You don't even know it's happening, bro. And then somebody rolls up on you and you got a fractured leg. We saw 2 offensive linemen get rolled up on. We saw one for the Eagles, Lane Johnson, and then we saw a guy for the Green Bay Packers as well. So it's like a thankless job, bro. You blocking, you doing your job, and next thing you know, you out for the season with a torn ACL. And worse, he's Marcus Davenport. What's up? MSU says, so with Malcolm Rodriguez coming back, should the Lions think about having him play DE, since it would be hard to put him back at LB due to how good Jack, Alex, and Barnes is playing? Okay. I don't think they would do that, MSU. I could see them putting Barnes as edge because he was rushing a lot, and I think Barnes was playing edge in college. So I think they put Derek Barnes as an edge rusher before they put Malcolm. It feels good to be back in first place in the division. Absolutely. It looked like more of a slap than a punch. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get into it because y'all just will not. Let's get into it because that's dominating the conversation. Let me pull this over here, and then we're going to take this, pull it over here, and then we'll have this segment. This is such a whiny. This is just like, yo, what are we doing here? This is crazy. All right. Who do you think should replace Johnny Morton in-house? I don't know. People have been saying Shaw. Shaw should be the replacement, but I don't know. All right. Lord, let me shout this person out. Who is this coming from? All right. All right. Okay. All right, let me bring up the chat because this is dominating the conversation. So let's talk about it. All right. We all saw the punch, the open hand slap, if you will. We all saw it against Amon-Ra St. Brown in the second quarter of the Washington Commanders game. Defensive lineman, defensive tackle, 300-plus pound Daron Payne decides to slap Amon-Ra St. Brown in the helmet. It was an open hand slap punch, if you will, and it wound up getting him ejected. So then we hear Kinlaw after the game say that Amon-Ra St. Brown punched him first and that they didn't do anything about that one. All right. Now this conversation seems to be dominating the chat, so we're going to talk about it now. And that is the fact that this is just weak to me. This is very weak. First of all, Daron Payne appealed his suspension. It was upheld, so he will miss a game. But it seems like there is a campaign to try to get Amon-Ra St. Brown suspended as well. All right. Now, I don't think he's going to be suspended. Let me put that out there. I'm going to show you why I don't think he's going to be suspended. There's a couple reasons why, but I think it's very lame. And I got to say, for the fan base to be complaining is one thing, but for Payne to be complaining is another. Brian Branch said what he had to say after the Chiefs game. He said what happened. He said he was wrong. He said why it happened, right? It was the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster was doing things that could have hurt Brian Branch. No type of You know, it wasn't just some friendly pushing and shoving or unfriendly pushing and shoving. It was legit blindside blocking. That's why the blindside blocks and all of those things are frowned upon. The block in the back and all of that. Defenses, receivers, all of that, because it's about player safety. So that's what that complaint was. But Brian took it. Yes, he appealed it. Yes, he lost the appeal. But we didn't hear anything about it. This is crazy to me, though. But Deron Payne, he decides that he's going to get this footage. I don't know where he got this footage from. It must be the All-22. That he posts this on his Instagram feed. Bro, you 300-something pounds. And this is crazy to me. But here is the video of Amon-Ra St. Brown and what the first punch, alleged punch, was from St. Brown to Deron Payne. Okay, so here is St. Brown where my cursor's at. Here's Deron Payne. Now, this is after a play was over, so he didn't put any other this is the beginning of the clip. There is no other context. I think this was after a play in which St. Brown gets kind of blocked into him. They all fall down and they get up. Probably some extracurricular activities that happens probably on every play. So here's St. Brown. Here's Payne. Now it's going to play at regular speed, and then it's going to be slowed down so I don't have to do it. If y'all need me, so it's kind of like a push at the helmet. A push at the helmet. You can see it right here. St. Brown, his right hand. It looks like at this point he's trying to get maybe smack Deron Payne's hand away. So now Deron squares up, which if you know, listen, you can't square up if you square up to some dude, bro, helmet or not, you already know what you're trying to, you already know what that means. So again, here's St. Brown, that's Payne. Now here's the ref. And this is why I don't think that there's going to be a suspension in this case. If you go and you look, the entire play, the ref, his eyes are here. He already sees the scrum forming. Now, there was no flag thrown on this play. So if the NFL decides to suspend St. Brown for a missed call from the refs, that's going to be an even worse look on the NFL in a year that officiating is already being highly questioned. All right. Now, on top of that, let's let it play again. Kind of like he caught the side of the helmet, maybe the face mask, more of the face mask than the side of the helmet. We're going to let it play some more. And then there's another kind of slap. Now, you can see here, it looks like that to me, that this slap connected to the face mask. Maybe should he have been called a foul? I don't know. I don't know the rules. I don't know what you can and cannot do. I know this is not a good look for St. Brown. It's really not. You know what I'm saying? I can't say if it was right or wrong, or if it was worthy of an ejection, or he's probably going to get fined. He's probably going to get fined, but that's not for me to say, because I can only see it from this angle too. There's no footage that I've seen. But here's the ref. So if it was egregious enough for him to be a flag thrown or suspended, you would think he would have done that, but he didn't do it. He came a little slap, and so Payne is automatically, you too big for this, bro. You looking at the refs and you already complaining. I don't know. Again, I don't know what happened. Now, here it is, slowing down. You see St. Brown. We don't know what happened in the pile. Now, I'm not trying to excuse St. Brown from this. I'm not. But these men hit each other for a living. You got to take care of it inside the whistles. But at the same time, I don't know what was happening. And I know, hey, I see a big tray. I'm leaving here with something. Like I told you, you square up to me, then that tells me one thing. Helmet or not, it tells me one thing. So then you have a little bit, he didn't make any contact with the first time. He didn't make any contact with his helmet. But this second time, and the ref is literally right there when the contact is made. The ref is right there. Now, obviously, there was some contact, but it was probably more of a face mask thing. The ref let him play it out. They let him deal with it. But if you go to Deron Payne, it was a wind up smack to the head. And I don't have that one on. I think I might have that one saved. I could look and see. But the difference between these two things, to me, is enough. And I'm not even making excuses for St. Brown. You got to keep your hands to yourself. But the first time, it looked like it was more of an arm push away. And then the second time, he caught some of the face mask. But the ref is right there. He's right there. He can see exactly what contact was made with St. Brown. Was it worthy of a foul? You know what I'm saying? And he let it play out. He let it play out. Now, when you go to Deron Payne makes legit contact to the side of the head, and maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's the difference. When you see a foul, I don't know why I can't talk today, but when you see like a penalty, right? The helmet to helmet. Sometimes they'll call things that they'll call it, they'll replay it and say, okay, no contact was actually made to the helmet. There was a hit on CJ Stroud in last week's game. It looked like initially that the player hit his head, but CJ Stroud hit his head on the ground. It was a clean hit. So again, Amon-Ra St. Brown got to control himself. He's not free of liability, but at the same time, the ref, like I said, the ref is right there. So the ref is right there. Now, it could have been, maybe it was a call that was up to the ref. Maybe this ref said, hey, this is not worthy of a flag or a suspension or an ejection. So there was no contact made. And then there, it looked like it was probably and then, like I said, again, it's not for me to say, but I'm more like, yo, you 300-some pounds. And you come back, you walk up to the dude, and then you have the intent behind it as well. I'm going to see, I don't know if I have the other play with St. Brown and the smack that Deron did on him. I'm going to see if I can find it. Because if you look at the plays, they're completely different. And again, I don't want to act like I'm trying to say that St. Brown was innocent in this situation, but at the same time, and I don't have it. I don't have the clip, but it was completely different. Payne, after the play, you got like the heat of the moment things, just like Brian Branch. The game is over. Brian walks up to Juju Smith-Schuster and clocks him on the side of the head, right? So you have different things. You have the contact that was made, then you have the intent behind it. You got like premeditated versus reactive. And I'm not saying that it's right in any way, but I'm like, yo, you too big for this. Deron Payne, and I think highly of Deron as a defensive tackle, but this, bro, this is weak to me. This is weak. Take your suspension like a man and keep pushing. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think from that angle that St. Brown should have been either flagged or ejected, or do you think that it was valid? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. All right, let me see what y'all saying. And I did see a super chat from Will. Will with the super chat, appreciate you, my man, says, hey, Derek, who do you think is going to get a massive payday in 2026? Also, will this defense be good enough to carry them to the playoffs? You know what? I will answer that in just a second. Appreciate the super chat, my man. And I will answer that in a minute. Let me see what y'all were saying about the slap. I don't care about that. Who punched who is a bunch of nonsense. They grown men. If they fight, oh well, move on. Yes, it was after the play where Payne would not get off St. Brown. He blocked into St. Brown. He blocked him into the ground. It was already over with Deron Payne deserved to get suspended. Washington is a dirty club. Football, both football and basketball. He squared up with St. Brown. What he did was justified. Hey, Derek, can we talk about something else, please? All this talk, not trying to diss on you. No, they wanted me to talk about it, Will. They wanted me to talk about it, so I talked about it. NBA, let me see. We see guys get ejected for leaving the bench during fights. Big example last year. Well, you know why, MSU. That came from Malice at the Palace, bro. You can't do that now. Slaps happen all the time in the NFL. Seen it several times this season, and the refs just break it up. Yeah, so again, I think it's a smear campaign. I think it's really weak. I think it's really, really weak from Deron Payne. All right, so super chats, if you have questions, those usually get prioritized, and I will also make them into videos usually as well. So let's get into Will's. So Will has a question, gave a super chat, says, hey, Derek, who do you think is going to get a massive payday in 2026? Also, will this defense be good enough to carry them to the playoffs? Well, thanks, Will, for that super chat and that question. So who do I think is going to get a massive payday in 2026? We talked about this before. And I think that for me, it's got to be Jahmyr Gibbs. You got to give Jahmyr Gibbs, you got to lock him up. He'll be eligible for his fifth-year option and extension. I think that the Detroit Lions are going to not only extend Jahmyr Gibbs, but I think he's going to be the highest paid running back in the National Football League. So you've got that, but that could be what Christian McCaffrey makes what? I don't know what he makes, but I think he's going to make more than him. So then you have Brian Branch that's going to be up for a contract. You also have, but before that, you have Jack Campbell. Now, I wasn't very high on Jack after year one, but the 2 years since, last year and this year, the guy's been a dog. He is worthy of an extension. So then you have him as well. Now, the Detroit Lions don't need to move on either of them. They got to pick up their fifth-year option, which they will. But they don't have to necessarily move. When it comes to Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell, it's a situation of, do you wait it out? The more you wait, usually the more it costs, because either the player plays even better or the market is set higher. So you got those two situations. Now, for the running back market, it's not a big deal. The linebacker market, it could be a big deal. Now, the crazy thing is TJ Watt, those guys, Brian Burns and all, those guys are classified as linebackers, but they rush the passer. Jack Campbell falls into a legit, real linebacker. Like, middle of the field, does what he does, makes a bunch of tackles. So I think that the Detroit Lions have to make a decision on him and Gibbs, but it doesn't have to necessarily be right away. The more pressing need to me is Sam Laporta and Brian Branch. On top of that, you've got to re-sign the players that you are going to need to refill your team. The Detroit Lions have 38 people under contract, I believe it is, for next season. They have 4 people on the defensive line, and they've got a massive amount of signings that they have to do. Oh, man. So if I had to prioritize, first I thought Campbell was going to be the odd man out. Not the way the dude leads the team in tackles. There's no way now. First round pick, there's no way. So now I think it becomes between Laporta and Branch. I don't know, guys. I don't know, because I think they're both equally valuable. Then you have the situation of the volatileness of Brian Branch. And is that something the Detroit Lions may want to deal with if he doesn't get himself together? You guys, Laporta, you don't hear a peep. He shows up, causes no problems on or off the field. No penalties, no nothing like that. Brian Branch, I think, leads the league or the Lions in fines or something like that. So I think that's something that the Detroit Lions are going to have to weigh. Massive paydays. I don't know what Brad is going to do, when he's going to do it, but massive paydays. Let me ask you guys this. Do you think that Brian Branch has earned a massive payday in the realm of Kirby Joseph? I don't think he's going to be paid like Kirby. I really don't. So massive paydays. If the Detroit Lions decide to extend Jahmyr, I think Jack is going to get a decent deal. I also think that, I don't know. I feel like Brad is going to find a way to keep both of them. That's what I believe, because he's found a way to keep every impactful draft pick that he's ever had. That's what I think, that he's going to find a way to do that. Let me see. Yellow says, yeah, Laporta can be the one you let go. You have Brock and Shane. I don't know, man. The odd man out is Laporta. If he were used, let me see, if he was used as much as Tyler Warren or Trey McBride, he would not be. I don't know. I feel like Brad is going to find a way, because he loves his guys, right? And there's not one player, impact player, that you can name that he's let walk. Is there? Is there one impact player that he's drafted that he let walk? I'm not talking about Ife Melifonwu. He doesn't count. I'm talking about the first 4 picks in 2023. They're all studs. How do you make that happen? I think Brad makes it happen. I don't think that Laporta gets a TJ Hawkinson deal, but I also think, I will say this, shout out to my guy, Spirit of Detroit podcast, because he kind of saw a pattern about what Brad does. If Brad signs or drafts a tight end, Laporta's gone. Brad has a knack for drafting right before that player, like a year in advance. So if he signs or drafts a tight end in free agency or the draft, then that means that he's going to let Sam walk. That's what I think is going to happen. Robbie says Brad will find a way. I believe that as well. I mean, Brad gave J-Mo $1 million per reception in an extension, so I think he can work his magic, Laporta contract, and players will take less to contend with this culture. Yeah, so that's what I think. I think, even though what you said, I agree with that. But I think that for Brad, it's a thing of, I have drafted these guys. I want them to stay. I have made it work from, since up until now. I have found a way to keep Jamison Williams, St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Aleem McNeil, extend Jared Goff, even though he didn't draft him. Like I said, Aiden Hutchinson. All the guys that have made an impact through the draft that Brad has drafted are here on this team. And I don't think it changes with Laporta. After the big four, the next draft doesn't have that many that will need to get re-signed, just TA and Mahogany. And Mahogany's a 6th-round pick who is currently injured, so he's going to have to come back and make his money. And TA right now, look, we're in year 2 of TA. We don't even have to think about that. But you are correct. You are correct. And that's a good point as well, is that Brad, most of the damage is done. If we look at the 1st-round pick of this year, Tyleek Williams, his snap count has been diminished since the return of Aleem McNeil. So he's a rookie, so he's a while off. And then you have Terrion Arnold from 2024. So you are correct. After he pays this set, these people that will be up for contracts this year, he doesn't really, and that includes beyond the 1st and 2nd rounds, because there's really nobody after the 2nd round of the 2023 draft. Then what are we talking? Hendon Hooker, gone. Broderick Martin, gone, right? 2024. Who can you name? Who did we take in the 3rd round in 2024? Does the NFL give cap increase every year? Yes, they do. They do. I think that's why we let players like Carlton Davis walk when they wanted more money. Every dollar counts towards the extension, most likely why we never make a deadline move for an edge. In addition to that, that's a great point, because there's somebody else that needs a deal. Amik Robertson, he needs a deal. So next season, and that's why I said, and I say this on Lion Syndicate all the time, that Brad Holmes he's got his work cut out for him next year. We have 4 players signed on the defensive line. The secondary is pretty locked up. Brian Branch will probably need an extension, but Amik will need to be re-signed. And we wonder what kind of deal that's going to be. The same year, Brad has to decide on Jack, Brian, Laporta, and Gibbs, in addition to re-signing Malcolm Rodriguez, who I do think will return as a Detroit Lion. You've got DJ Reader. Do you bring him back, or do you go elsewhere? The team is, Brad got his work cut out for him. I don't envy him at all. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Also, the second half of that question was, will this defense be good enough for the Detroit Lions to carry the Lions in the playoffs? That's a great question. I don't know. Right now, they're top 10 in points or yards and points, I believe. No, are they top 10 in points? I don't know. I want to say yes, but I don't know, because when we get into the playoffs, like right now, our first opponent would be the Chicago Bears. They would have to come to Detroit. Then I have us going against the Rams. I feel like the Rams would beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It would either be the Rams or the Bucs. And then they have to come to Detroit. So whichever one of them teams won would have to come to Detroit. I don't know, man. This year is going to give, when we play the Rams, when we play the Eagles next week, it's going to give a good indication of what we can do. Now, we will have DJ Reed. He'll be back in about a month, so we'll see. But is it good enough? I don't know yet. I'm still on the fence about that, because I don't trust the pass rush. I don't trust it. When you bring in the linebackers a lot, I just don't trust the consistency of Mohamed. And yes, we got a guy back. We're going to talk about him later, but I have to see more out of the front four for me to really believe that this defense is going to carry us through the playoffs, because that's when you're playing the best of the best, right? Even team number 7 is the best of the worst. So it's the worst of the best. So I don't know, but that's a great question. Thank you for your super chat. What up, what up, what up? Lions are second in points as of now in the NFL. Yeah, I meant on defense, though. The pass rush is still a concern. For me, it is. For me, it is. I'm going to stay on that. For me, it is a concern. But that's just me. All right, let me see. I don't like the way YouTube has this now, man. The way they have this, the live streaming is kind of different. You got to pay a Meek, but it depends on how much he wants. He likes it here too. You know what, man? Yellow, I think you got to find a way for a Meek to stay. And you know what? I'm going to be real, bro. Excuse me. A Meek Robertson. I think Brad, he is, to me, we got to find a way to keep him. Because he is what the Lions are about. Think about this. You asked a slot corner to play on the outside. And not only does he play on the outside, he's played on some of your biggest wide receivers with very few penalties. You have to pay this dude. I think a Meek, you got to pay him. You have to pay him. But we'll see what Brad will do. I think he's earned it. I think you have to pay him. Oh, yes. You know what? I'm on it, bro. I am on it right now. I'm glad you said that because I actually have it bookmarked. I was going to do it on Lion Syndicate, but I was like, nah, I'll do it over here. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Jorge says ridiculous. What up, though, in my opinion? All right, so this channel, man, we're going to have Derek. I have a question. Is Dan Skipper under contract? He is not. Remember, we cut Dan, and then we re-signed him to the practice squad. So, Dan, if you got cut, you're not in the contract. So we cut. I left watching that game steamed. Yeah. Well, yeah. All right, let's get into it. So I got a question in the chat, and I wanted to talk about this, and I want you guys' opinion on this. All right. Jalen Phillips. We talked about, you guys know how I feel about Brad Holmes and him signing injured players. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It worked with Tim Patrick. It worked with DJ Reed. It did not work with Emmanuel Mosley. And there are others that we can list as well. If it works or not. If Melifonwu, he had spurts, but he can, even now, he's not really healthy with the Dolphins, but he came out, got a pick against the team that they were playing on Sunday, the Buffalo Bills. So we know if he's good for that, sacking and picking, some things that he can do. But Jalen Phillips, he had a monster debut for the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. I want to show you what he was able to do yesterday. And this is one of the tweets that came out about him. This is coming from Jordan Schultz. It says the Eagles couldn't have scripted a better debut for Jalen Phillips. Just a massive difference maker. This is what I'm begging the Detroit Lions to get. Outside of Aiden Hutchinson, outside of Aleem McNeil, for the defense, caused the fumble to close out the game, recovered a fumble, played the run, which is what the Detroit Lions absolutely love. You have to be able to do. Had a total of 6 tackles, a monster, on top of other things that he did as well. He was in every play, chasing down Jalen Hurts, making him throw off balance. This is a guy that we should have traded for. Now, I know he's coming off of 2 season-ending injuries. It was devastating. But the Detroit Lions have done this before. They've done this before. I think it was a mistake. I do. Because if we would have traded, but we gave up our 3rd-round pick. So Brad wasn't going to give a second. The Eagles weren't going to take a 4th. We gave up our 3rd-round pick for Isaac Tesla. No hate on Tesla, but Tesla needed to be in the game. He needed to be targeted. Now, he's blocking and all that stuff that is not around the football, but at the same time, this guy is a guy that's going to help take us to the Super Bowl. I think Brad dropped the ball on this. You guys know I've been saying this forever. Report came out that, which is shocking to me. It is very shocking that apparently the Cincinnati Bengals did not receive higher than a 4th-round pick for Trey Hendrickson. That's kind of shocking because you would think that a 2nd-round pick, somebody would be willing to give up a 2nd-round pick if they thought they were right there. And Hendrickson, although he's dealing with an injury right now, could take them all the way, help take them all the way. But a 4th-round pick, and we have one. We do have one. But he didn't. The Cincinnati Bengals, they were asking for a 1st being dumb. Passing on Jalen Phillips was a mistake. He dropped the ball. Brad dropped the ball. Monster debut for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, if they're not careful, if the Lions are not careful, there's another guy that, remember the Eagles, we just lost Andre Carter II to the Raiders, I think. No. Who came and claimed him? Was it the Eagles? Somebody came and claimed Andre. Could somebody come take Ahmed? He's on the practice squad. And if I'm not mistaken, he doesn't even count toward the 53. So somebody could come take this guy if we don't bring him up to the 53. Now, the Lions can stop that by signing him to the 53-man roster, and that's not a thing. But Jalen Phillips, he's a monster. He's a monster, man. But, and I'm wondering, when I was watching last night, I just was like, yo, how good would it be for this guy to be across from Aiden? How great would it be? But alas, it didn't happen. Everybody loves Don said, I'm very upset Brad didn't trade for him. He was a game wrecker last night. Of course he was. Of course he was. Of course, he's on a team that's defending Super Bowl champions. You'd be surprised how people play when they got something to play for. I'm not saying Jalen was not, but I'm going to tell you what. Tell me if it's just me. The last game that you saw him play for the Dolphins, did it look like, because they played on like Thursday night or Sunday night or Monday night or something like that. It looked like he wasn't really giving it. I said in a tweet he's going to be traded because he didn't look like he was giving it 100%. But yesterday, he was giving it 100%. He said it was a dream come true or something like that. The best thing that ever happened in his life was to land on the Philadelphia Eagles. He could have been saying that about the Detroit Lions. He could have been saying it about the Detroit Lions, man. Would y'all have given up a second for him? I wouldn't have. The reason that I wouldn't have is because, and I said I would. You know what? I think I said I would have. Here's my thoughts. Mohamed, to me, is too streaky. He's too streaky to me. And if Jalen walks in free agency, he takes a monster deal, we'll get a third. So if I thought he was the guy to help take us all the way, then yeah, I'll give up. I mean, I'm not going to give up a first for him, but I would give up a first for that guy, right? So I don't know, but I still, but then you start to go down a rabbit hole and you say, okay, well, we didn't have a third because we traded for Tesla. Tesla's doing nothing. Could we have used Jalen Phillips over Tesla this year in order to win a Super Bowl? Then you start going down the what-if game. You start playing the what-if game. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, they are under us in sacks going until last night. I don't know where they are now, but they're also defending Super Bowl champions. And Howie is not scared at all. Check this out. You saw the graphic as well. 96 trades since 2016. 96 trades for Howie Roseman. He had 9 this season alone between the offseason and the trade deadline. At the trade deadline, he had 3. And they paid off last night. And that was just one game. And don't forget, we play them this Sunday. So we'll see. But I think Brad dropped the ball on not just Jalen Phillips, but making a move at the trade deadline. But that's all right, because we got our guy back, the 6th-round pick, who we'll talk about very soon. Understand that you want Phillips, but we don't fit the scheme of defense that he could be reason why we didn't trade for him. Okay. So Denzel, I disagree, bro. Because I saw us running a 3-4 on Sunday. I saw us running a 3-4. Seems like we was running 3-4, 4-3. I don't know how an edge rusher doesn't fit in the scheme. Dolphins have Dre. We wouldn't been able to get Phillips had we not traded our 3rd-round pick. Or we would have been able to get Phillips had we not traded for our 3rd-round pick, who Tesla. I just don't understand. Why are we not using him? I don't understand that. Why are we not using him, man? It's kind of annoying. And I'm realizing now that I could legit be on for 2 hours. I really could, because the time be flying past, man. Bro, CJ Gardner-Johnson, he did. I was like, look at you, young punk. Man, I said we got to deal with him too. So you either use Tesla to justify using a total of 3 picks on him, or you get criticized for a bad move. I mean, Google, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of a, yeah. It's a bad move because he's not playing. Why would you do that? It's a bad move this year. Was Isaac drafted for next year? I mean, look, I don't have to fix this team. Brad does. I'm not on a time leash. He is. That's just the bottom line. Brad is he's on a time crunch. He got to get it done. They don't know how to play 4 wide receiver sets for some reason. We're not using him because Johnny Moore didn't know how to incorporate him. Watch Dan find a way to use him. Fresh, if that's the case, then fine, bro. Get him in. Get him in. What are we waiting on? CJ GJ was a liability, but I was at the Ski Mask game, and I'll never forget. I mean, look, I think we're beyond liability point, like at this point. You know what I'm saying? We are trying to win a Super Bowl. So when I say liability, like we're going to need bodies. And I think he was overhyped, but you know, I don't know. Liability, yeah, I can see that because he was causing problems. He really was. He was getting burned. He made some decent plays, but he was getting burned most of the time. Amon-Ra did not see an increase rolling to week 12 of his rookie season. Okay. So so VT, I understand that. But when you start to use that logic, see, it's not just about, okay, when does he start to get worked in? It's about the fact that you gave up draft capital for him, right? Why was Broderick Martin such a big deal? He was such a big deal because we traded up for him. When you traded up for a guy that might have gone undrafted I'm going to keep it a buck. He might have gone undrafted. You trade up for a guy. You are saying, wow. So the Lions said that Broderick Martin would not have been around at 122, right? We had either 120 or 122. And the Lions were saying, this guy is not going to be around until we pick 26 picks later. So we have to trade up for him, right? That's what brought more attention to what he was not doing. If Tesla was sitting there, that's one thing. But you trade up. Not only do you trade up, you give up next year's pick to get him. You would think that that's a guy that you're going to use right away. That's the point. It's not that, it's no other point, bro. If you trade up for any guy, Sione Vaki, we traded up for him. We traded up for that dude, man. And then he didn't even play the role that we really like. He was a safety mostly. So we traded up and then we played him as a running back. I think Sione Vaki is also looking like a reach. Sione Vaki is like the epitome of reach, where it's like, yo, you traded up to get this guy and he's a special teamer. Like, that's what we're doing. Google Face says, it does take a long time. Tesla might pan out for the season. Amon-Ra was a nobody, a terrible team until a few weeks. That's why was Quintez Cephas wide receiver 1? Okay. Wide receiver 1 win. The argument is still, you have no argument, bro. Google Face, I'm sorry, you have no argument. We traded up for Tesla. We gave up a future pick for Tesla. You got to play. You cannot trade up for a dude and he don't play until week 17. Like, he don't start to pop until week 17. He should have been out. And then you trade Tim Patrick before the season. There's no reason that Tesla should not be playing at all. He should be like featured in the offense. There's no reason at all. I'm paying Hassanein is a real deal. Okay, let's talk about him. Let's get into it. Justin May the rapper, don't be worried about it, because we already discussed it, that if the NFL goes back and suspends St. Brown and a ref was right there, they're going to look really, really bad. Like, they look bad already. But you know what? We had a ref looking right in St. Brown's face. What I see them doing is saying the ref made a judgment call and dealing with the aftermath from that. But to go back and then suspend St. Brown when a ref was right there. Now, if a ref wasn't there, then it would be different. I don't see that, because the NFL is already under a bunch of scrutiny this year for the lack of like consistent play calling. Now we just got to get J-Mo involved. He will be. The lack of Tesla is on Johnny Mo. Okay. All right. So y'all, okay. So that means we going to see him involved for the rest of the season, right? Did I see Draymond Jones? No, I didn't get to see that game, bro. Don't be surprised when Tesla starts showing up this week. Hey, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's what I want to happen. I didn't think we should let Tim Patrick go because I thought he could mentor. Let me pause that, because that spinning is driving me crazy. That does make a lot of sense. But if Tesla is at best wide receiver three, I don't think it was worth all those picks. Well, that's what he's going to be, man. He's not going to take out Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jamison Williams. Hey, if St. Brown gets suspended, maybe he will be. You know what? I don't think he's going. Oh, my bad, bro. My bad. I don't think he's going to be suspended. But let's talk. Let's do our last segment of the day, and then we'll be on tomorrow. The Lions get a boost at defensive end. The legend himself returns. And yes, I'm going to be sarcastic. I'm going to be sarcastic with this situation because I think that this young man got a lot of pressure put on him. He had more sacks than Mike Green and all this other stuff. And we're talking about Ahmed Hassanein, the 6th-round rookie that was drafted by the Detroit Lions. We all know the story. He's he qualifies as like he doesn't even affect the roster, which is a weird thing because if he is claimed right now, he's on the Detroit Lions practice squad. It's been week 10. We are now in week 11. And that was the rumor. The report was that he was going to be able to sign with the Detroit Lions after week 10. And he's back. He's back on the practice squad. Lions decided to sign him to the practice squad. They'll have to raise him to the 53 or sign him to the 53 if somebody tries to poach him. How excited are you? How excited are you? I mean, I have no excitement. None. He was decent in the preseason. He was decent. Got hurt in game 2, game 3, whichever game it was. He has no experience against starting offensive linemen, or he has very little experience against starting offensive linemen. And this guy was a 6th-round pick. Now, again, in the comment section, it was like, oh, Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. What's his name? What's the dude name? Jason Kelsey, 6th-round pick. All of these guys, 6th-round picks. And what is that? Okay, so we're comparing Ahmed Hassanein to Tom Brady. Like, the dude has not played a snap in a regular season game. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not pro Hassanein. I just think we putting a little too much stock into him. That's what I think. Let me see what he can do against legit offensive linemen. The same way I said to y'all over and over again that James Houston was not the answer. He has one move. It's called speed and bend. That's it. If he gets caught up, he will actually hit the ground before he has no bull rush or nothing, right? Now, Hassanein has much more power than James Houston. He can do more than James Houston, in my opinion. But is he the bee's knees? No. Is he the answer to our defensive end depth piece role? No. I mean, in my humble opinion, I think that Al-Qadim Muhammad is kind of overperforming. I do. He's on pace for all he needs is 1 sack more. He'll have a career season. His career season is 6.5. He needs 1 sack to have a career season. Good for him. What I need from him is consistency. That's what I need. Like, you have to game plan for Hutch every single game. You cannot put one person on him 9 out of 10 times. Can you say that about anybody, the other edge rushers on the defensive line for the Detroit Lions? You already got Marcus Davenport, who may or may not come back. I mean, at this moment, Marcus Davenport, we've already entered December. 21 days from right now, it's December 2nd. No, is it? It's like December 3rd. So Marcus Davenport, whose window hasn't even opened yet, is all the way in December now. And we're just ecstatic that this guy, and you know, I think I know what it is. So yes, he has some great stats coming out of college. He was more sacks than Mike Green and all this other. Okay. Mike Green went in what? Late first, early second, wherever he went. There's a reason this guy went in the 6th round. There's a reason, man. There's a reason Malcolm Rodriguez. Look, if he turns out to be Malcolm, I'll be happy about that. If he turns out to, not James Houston, but Malcolm Rodriguez. Y'all remember, let's go back to 2022. Y'all remember the 2022 draft when we drafted Malcolm Rodriguez? All we heard was like that he was a diamond in the rough. And then he came and performed like he was a diamond in the rough. And to me, that's what's going to help earn him a contract next year. He's on year 4. Believe it or not, we're already in year 4. And Brad likes to reward his guys, even if you're hurt. For me, I got to see something from this guy first before I put him. And even when I see it, I got to see consistency. James Houston came out and got 2 sacks his very first game against Josh Allen. and y'all were ready to, oh my God, he's better than Hutch. Hutch was having like he was having a tough time. He was going through a stretch where he wasn't really doing anything, like getting any sacks, and y'all was ready to say he was better than Aiden Hutchinson, which was laughable, right? So I'm feeling that same type of vibe. Like, okay, because this guy said he would die for Dan Campbell, he is the perfect Detroit Lion. But how will he affect the play on the field? We got C. Pool with the super chat. Says, Hassanein was behind Lynn and Cooper. The tape in college versus Power 5 was laughable. Hassanein was dominated by the second string tackles during the preseason. Well, that's why he was a sixth-round pick. Same reason. I think Malcolm Rodriguez was short. It was his height that made him a sixth-round pick. He might have been earlier than that. And if you had to redraft that 2022 NFL draft, Malcolm would probably go higher than that. So, again, this is not a knock on him. I'm just like, yo, you're a sixth-round pick. You have no in-game, real-time, real NFL experience. Why do I think you're going to do anything? If you are the second overall pick in the draft, you are expected to make an immediate impact like Hutch has done, like other guys have done. But if you're a sixth-round pick, you're already like, not much is expected of you. So anything you do is going to seem like it's going to be just crazy, right? So for me, when it comes to Hassanein, I got to see it on the field in the NFL. That's all I'm saying. I'm wishing him the best. I think he has massive potential, which we know the Detroit Lions like to draft. Massive potential. I think he has it. I think the sky is the limit. We've seen sixth-round picks do more and become Hall of Famers, right? So we can see it if we do, right? So we got to see it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to put a game-changer status on a guy that hasn't played a game in the NFL. That's all I'm saying. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'm happy to get the guy back. I'm happy he decided to come back because we need all the help you can get. But at the same time, he got to show me what he got. Tyleek not playing either. Appreciate that, Dave. We're just hyping him up as fans. If he were an elite edge in college, he would have been gone in the first round. We are starting for a good secondary edge is all. You know what? Google Face, that might be the best representation. And I think that is. And you know what? I'm for that. I'm not for that type of fan. Like, my content is not for that type of fan. You've got the different fan bases, the different type of fan that is like everything Brad does. If you're a Detroit Lion, you are a Detroit Lion. Like, through and through, it doesn't matter. If they believe in you, we believe in you. But I got questions. Okay, well, why were you drafted in the sixth round? What is this? Like, for instance, do I think that everybody has to be squeaky clean character? No. Right? If we did I want Jalen Carter? No, I think he was too far over on the other side. But if it's a dude that's willing to kind of rock the boat a little bit, I mean, look, if he help us win a Super Bowl, it is what it is, bro. We can't just be Boy Scouting all the time, bro. We need somebody edgy. You know what I'm saying? We need that. We need something, bro. Hassanein is a difference maker. He was a stud at Boise State. Okay, Will, I got a question for you, bro. What has he done in the NFL? And I'm not, I love you, Will. What has he done in the NFL? I wanted to make sure that my voice wasn't the monster voice. Telling you. So that's all I'm saying. So, Will, I hope you're right. But for me, I have to see it in the NFL. But with that being the case, all right, so a couple updates before we get off. I'm actually going to go grab something to eat. So what we're going to do is, I could really see myself going for 2 hours. But what I'm doing is I'm working with the software people, trying to figure out how I can bring in guests without the guests hearing echoes. And once I get that worked out, which I will, okay, it's got to be a way to get this done. We might start going 2 hours, man, with the phone lines opening, with us bringing in guests, the whole nine. But we are here to stay. I am going to condense this off season. I got to figure out how to make all of this stuff work. I am still looking for Pistons people, for people to bring you different type of content as well. But thank you guys for rocking with me and staying with me. I appreciate you. We left 2 topics on the table, but we could also talk about that tomorrow. With that being said, the name of this song is called The Detroiters Theme. You can find it on, if you Shazam it you can actually Shazam from your phone. If you have the Shazam app, you can pull up your phone, open up Shazam, hit the button, and it'll tell you what it is. C Pool with the super chat says, try a headset to stop the feedback. Nope, that's not it. That's not C Pool. It's a very complicated system. So I'm talking to them now. It is where it's like the audio is going in, but it's coming back out and looping to them because of how I have it set up. I have to change something. I don't know what to do. It's a very complicated, bro. This what I'm on now is a newscaster like thing. Like, I could run a whole news production with multiple. It's not OBS. It's something much more complex, but I'm trying to figure that out now. But I appreciate you, bro. All right. I will see y'all tomorrow, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go Lions. And I wonder what we do later today. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Oh, just got an update from Ari Mirov that Asante Samuel Jr. is signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad.
Hello, good morning. Horns is blowing, and I'm pissing off the neighbors. Whether homegrown or imported, we feeling shorted, cause we waiting on our paper. So next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Yeah, you don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets. Cause when you're in the Motor City, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the day, you don't know about the streets. Cause when you're in the Motor City, everything ain't pretty, but it's love though. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get you back on the feet. Yeah.